Greetings, Facebook.
Good morning, Facebook family. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
Day 665. We're rolling right along, huh?
What do your participants need for this session?
I would say, for this conversation for the next half an hour, you want to be comfortable, grab some water, maybe a pen and paper. We're going to be going through some steps, talking about some points. So just grab a pen and paper, grab some water, make yourself comfortable, a snack for the morning if you'd like, and just be ready to listen and contribute to the conversation. Anything else I'm missing, Omari?
No, definitely just, bring, just be ready to, like you said, Dre, add to the conversation. It's going to be a great topic, something that we all need. So I'm just looking forward to what we come together as a community to create.
I see Brother Adam was here this morning. Good morning, Adam. How's it going, man?
I'm good, Brother Dre. How you doing this morning? What's up, Omari?
Good morning. How you doing?
Every day is a good day. How you doing?
All right. I can't complain. Same.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for a few more folks to join us. We got you on. We have the Facebook family on. Good morning, everybody. Who else is joined? Oh, we have Sam. Good morning. Abimbola. Good morning. Marie. Lori. Zahura. Good morning.
Peace and blessings.
Good morning. Good morning. Folks are joining in one by one. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Any clients have reached the direct.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving. Together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together.
That was excellent, as usual. I love the intro.
It's a nice vibe for the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you want to start us off, Omari?
Yeah, definitely. So, like we said, this is Wake Up 665. My name is Omari Maynard. We've got Andre Nelson together today. We came on a couple of weeks ago and we had a conversation about, fatherhood and community and figuring out how to take back our power. And it was an excellent conversation. So we had to come back again and kind of double down on it, and and talk about, and like I said, double down and expound. So that's what we're going to be here doing today. And I'm just glad and happy that everybody's on here to co-create with us.
Absolutely. So today we're going to be talking about the concept of stepping into our power. Stepping into our power. What does that mean? What does that mean for you? What does that look like for you? I can tell you, there have been, as of late, for me personally, there have been opportunities to do things that I've never done before, and kind of stretch myself emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And I often think about what that means to step into, a space that I've never stepped into before. What does it require of me? What does it require of me to let go of? And how do I mentally prepare myself to now do things that I've never done, to be in the unknown space? I know I'm not the only one here that has experienced that feeling or that thought. And I think this is a great opportunity for us to talk about what that means, what's required of us to really step into our power. Should we take a look at our first slide?
Yeah, let's do
Second
that.
slide, maybe. That's right, got the sharp brother on the front. So what does it mean to step into your power? I think this picture of Angela Davis, she's one of my heroes. Just makes me feel like, what does it mean to face your fear? There's this quote by Buddha that says, "No one saves us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path." At the end of the day, I feel like the universe, God, whomever the higher power, has all blessed us with a gift. And in order to expose that gift and really, strengthen that gift for others to benefit from, we have to ourselves shed our old selves and really, embrace that gift that we've been blessed with. So what does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean to step into your power? Omari, what do you think?
Yeah, so for me, it's been a lot of life-changing events that's happened for me over the last couple of years. And I think that a big part of understanding that change is happening and realizing that it's happening is making sure that, like you said, I'm navigating, or like increasingly looking to navigate places that I haven't before, right? And embracing the unknown as opposed to running away from it. Like, I was thinking about this the other day, and going through like tragic times and dark times is like turning a light switch off, right? And then like kind of having to walk, right? So, and that is the scariest part, but that's also the dopest part about, really kind of walking into your power and really finding yourself. Because when the lights are off, you don't know where you're going, right? But when they're on, you see a path, right? And you think that that's the path because you can see it, you go to it. But if it's off and you're walking through it, when they do turn on, you might be in a space that you never even could have imagined to touch if you had, the ability to see, right? And, and then understanding that and knowing that there are so many different great things that come with spaces that you've never, people, places, things, opportunities that you've never had an opportunity to even have, if you felt like you really were able to navigate it, in the way that you used to. It allows for so much more, so much more fullness, so much more knowledge of self, and you do gain an appreciation of the things that are dark, and understanding that they are all a part of living.
I think you hit some really important points right there. And I think the first one that we have to talk about it more in depth is the concept of facing your fear. You know, when you use your analogy of the lights being turned off by tragedy and you can't see, metaphorically, you know, I think you enter a space of fear because of the unknown. That's, you know, that's natural to us as humans. But how do we navigate that space? And I think that one of the things that you kind of brushed on is the fact that faith in and of itself can help you navigate the unknown and the darkness. You know, faith in self, faith in a higher power, faith in whatever, you know, faith and hope, I feel like are some of these traits that can help you get through the fear of the unknown. Because, you know, we're all going to enter these spaces at some point, but that doesn't mean we're all going to be successful in navigating them, you know, especially when it comes to tragedy. So yeah, I think faith is definitely important.
Definitely. And I got to, so speaking on that, like, after Shamani passed, we had an altar in our house, but it wasn't to any extent what it is now. And, you know, I got to big up E.R. Robin for coming through and, you know, helping me set that up. And the reason why I bring up the altar is because, you know, it allowed for, you know, that appreciation, that help, right? In those spaces and places where I didn't know what to do and where to turn. The presence of the altar and me communicating with it on a regular basis allowed for like that beacon of light, right? And to walk that faith, right? And the cool thing about an altar is that, you know, like, you don't have to necessarily speak to it or talk to it or do anything. It's just when you're engaging with it, that is the conversation, right? So when you light the candle, when you put the food up, when you burn the incense, when you clean it, you know, when you just that having that is presence in the space. And then also, you know, when you're just looking at, you know, the ancestors who are on the altar, all of those different types of engagement, you know, it creates this consistent understanding that, you know, that there are, you know, ancestors, there are others on the other side working and helping you navigate, you know, on this earth plane. And, you know, just even that in itself, that subconscious understanding allows for a lot of ease to happen.
That's deep. So why don't we open it up, you know, to the crowd and get some feedback? You know, how do you guys feel? How does it feel when you enter a space of the unknown, and you want to navigate that? You know, you want to step into your power. You might want to do something new that you've never done. An opportunity presents itself, and you want to do it, but you might be afraid. How do you navigate? How do you guys navigate that space?
Any volunteers? Anybody want to take that on?
All right, so I just dropped the question in the chat and Shawnee has her hand raised.
Shawnee.
Hi, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, how are you? I'm excited to be here with both of you too. Well, the first thing, I'm not starting my video. I'm looking crazy this morning. Sorry, I'm sorry. The first thing that I do, well, most of the time, I would say 90% of the time, is consult with spirit. So Omari was mentioning the sacred space, the altar. So I consult with the ancestors, ideally, but I also have like tools that I use to check in. And when I'm going through a dark space, I try to ground myself in the fact that I am not by myself. It's not just the human dynamic, it's the ancestral and spiritual dynamic that's covering me too, and just get guidance from them, whether I need to sit still, if I need to do more ritual, If I need to engage humans, other folks in my life, and engage in conversation about what's next or what to do to navigate it. But I'm so grateful, and I'm trying to think how long ago it's been, more than 15 years, when I realized that operating from my mind is not enough. People hear me talk about this a lot, and that I'm not by myself with humans. And then also there's a whole slew of spiritual guides and ancestors from my clan and other clans that want to support me. And so I tap in, especially during the darkest hours, so that they can guide me and tell me what to do next. And I'm complete.
Thank you for sharing that. I think you bring up, and Omari as well, bring up a spiritual element that plays a really big part in navigating the space of darkness and or fear. And that's, something I hadn't really brought into my soul and really thought about the importance of. So thank you both for bringing that up. I think we have a hand.
Yes, yeah,
Robin.
Robin.
Good morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning. This is a great topic. I am in that space right now of, I call it in betwixt, space of the unknown, knowing that there is power within me, around me, that I can step into it. I love the analogy of being in darkness or feeling like I'm in the dark and needing a light, because I keep forgetting that I am the light. And so for me, there is a process of surrender that happens before I remember I remember my faith. Because I go thinking I know, and I move with familiarity, the things that I'm comfortable with. So just using the analogy of being in my dark house, I know, and I think I know, and I think I know what my house looks like, how it's designed and formed. And so in my mind, I can navigate myself through my house with my eyes closed. I will say that, like, and mean it. And I think one of you mentioned, but there's like this little pivot that I make that I've never been in that particular space, even in my own house. And so as I embark on this journey towards my destiny, and what I love to use the analogy of cycles, like I am not necessarily moving in a circle. Like I can go around and around and around thinking that I know, but it's really cycles, because that little space of the unknown that I thought I knew everything, and I don't know that particular space, will bring me to a higher level, because I may stub my toe, and then I'm focusing on the toe. So the destination of where I'm going and the urgency to, I want to say, to be who I need to be as I walk through my space with power, walk through life with power. It doesn't happen, that urgency, because now I'm acting out of desperation because of that pivot. And in my process, but the reason I'm saying surrender is because, I'm focusing on something that's not the end goal, because it became like a block in my, a blockage or a hiccup, an interruption in my journey. And so that's the same process that I'm in right now. And knowing that there's more, knowing that there's bigger, knowing that, I'm not going to be here forever, reminds me that I am the flashlight. I am the whole light. And even with that stub toe, I may be limping a little bit, but I can still get to my destination. So that's kind of what it looks and feels like for me. And I'm complete. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you. Thank you.
You shared some gems just now that I'm definitely gonna take away from this conversation. I think one of the biggest ones is I am the light. No matter what, I think, especially with this analogy of being in the dark, just remembering that I am the light wherever I go is affirming. That it helps me think that no matter what I face, in life that I am the light. I am going to bring the light to that situation. So thank you for that.
Yeah, right. For me, like what kind of really stuck was like, the stub toe part, and like the, the obstacles that kind of get in your way when you're walking in this different, different path and trying to navigate and figure things out, because when those things happen, it's so easy to go to revert, right? And just go back to what
Mhm.
or retreat and put
To what's
yourself back in
comfortable,
the
right?
loop. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like, we all want to stretch, but sometimes we pop, and go right back to what we usually do. And that is the journey, right? And that's the hardest part. It's like you can start it, but maintaining is a whole different story.
Yeah. And I think that goes to this other point of the journey versus the destination.
Mhm.
I mean, in my opinion, I feel like the journey is the important part. You have to have the destination in mind, but this life that we live is just a journey, and the journey is the important part, is the learning process.
Definitely.
The stub toes, the winning moments, everything in between,
Mhm.
So, it's really about the attitude and the energy that you bring forth as you're on that journey. You don't know what you don't know. At the end of the day, you bring who you are at that point to new experiences, and you try to navigate that. But at the end of the day, the new experience is going to help to reshape and evolve who you are as a person. And having a positive attitude, I think, always helps.
Definitely.
I think we have another hand by Cherie. Good morning, Cherie.
And before we go to the hand, that's fine. I just noted that Mahi Matthias was in Facebook and dropped a comment about saying analysis paralysis. He's now in the space, so I'm suspecting he might want to share at some point. And go ahead, Cherie.
Grand Rising family, I've missed you. I hope you all are well. I'm still in bed, so I'm not coming on camera unless y'all want to be in bed with me. There's room for us all, though.
That's a big bed you got. All right.
But I just wanted to contribute. I love all the shares, and I absolutely resonate with all of them. But and I wanted to add my little part, which is I realized that fear in as it pertains to, venturing out and doing new things has been this bully in my life that I've run from. And, I've thankfully grown to and through a space where I'm able to turn around. And because I'm out of breath at this point, 53, I'm out of breath. And so I've turned around and I've faced it. And I've stopped running. And I realized that fear was just energy that was in my belly that was not transmuted. It was just energy. It wasn't anything. It wasn't really fear. It was only fear when I assigned an emotion to it.
Mm.
And so now I'm at a space where I've come to that point, that reckoning quicker. And I just say to myself, okay, this is just energy. And you know what? And another part of it is I'm no longer afraid to make my transition. That's another part of it, because whatever it is I'm fearful of, even if it makes me transition, like I'm gonna still be okay. So what's the point? The point? So I'm two things. I'm careful of not assigning an emotion of fear to the energy that I'm feeling in my belly. And then the second thing is just doing it anyway, and just, being happy about having the opportunity to be earthside, to have the experience. And I am complete.
Thank you, Cherie. That was deep. And I feel like that's so common in the human experience. Feeling that fear, feeling that metaphorical bully, and then running from it. It's natural, but I love that you decided not to assign an emotion to it, and and move forward anyway, knowing that it's going to be okay. Thank you for that.
And
I think
she touched on a really really important point. You know, when we're trying to navigate and find our power, it's like, you know, it's the fear is one thing, but like the fear of failure and not just the fear of failure, but failing through the process is so important. Like it's so important because once you fail, like you have to, it puts you in a place where it's like, yo, what else, you know, what else do I have to lose, right? And once you kind of get into that kind of thought process where it's like, you know, the worst already happened, like and you still can keep going, that's where the learning happens, right? That's where you kind of understand or create a depth of knowledge. And then you're able to navigate and figure things out and have people through that path of failure help you navigate as well. You know, so all of those things are just so important. Like, not to just think of success as, you know, I won, but like the success is losing as well.
Yeah, I think you know, I think you also have to make sure that if you do fail at something, that you don't assign yourself a failure. You know, at the end of the day, you might fail, you might succeed, but that doesn't mean that you are a failure if it doesn't go the way you want. It's just another part of the learning process. And you also mentioned, and I think Cherie also mentioned, you know, talking to other people about it. And Lori, I think Lori Ayers, good morning, Lori, mentioned in the chat that she'll look for coaching or other people or talk to other people. And I think that could be helpful. I don't know, Lori, do you want to speak a little bit more about that before we go to our hands?
I was just going to say that my mentors taught me a long time ago that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And so I know that I have a village that I can count on. I have expertise. I learned from my son even. He'll just go on social media and say, who do I know who knows about this thing? And it's amazing how you often are already connected to the answer, but you have to make room to receive it.
I love it.
Yeah, thank you, Lori. It boils down to humility as well. Do I have the humility to reach out to somebody and get advice, you know, and kind of humble myself? And learn from whoever. It doesn't have to be an elder. It could be a kid. It could be somebody younger than you. It could be anybody, you know. We have to be open to receiving that. Thank you, Lori. That's a great share. You know, we do have a couple of hands. I'm not sure who was first, but I see Florence and
Molly. Molly, just go.
Oh, Molly, sorry.
No worries. So you can come off of mute and speak.
Hello, good morning. I happen to be the husband of Tiffany Bosma Matthias. She's around here somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. You talk about, you know, how to deal with the darkness and and the fear and the such. And I know I came far from doing so when something that I was told a long time ago is called analysis paralysis. It's like you analyze things so much to the point where you don't move, you know. And I think a lot of us suffer from it. I hear the stories. I've heard the stories throughout the times that I've, you know, ear hustled behind my wife, listening to the meetings and the such. And it's a lot of fear of failing. If you catch me, a lot of us suffer from the embarrassment we think we'll intake because we failed. Whereas there is no successful story without failing. There is no going forward without the concept of knowing you can go backwards. There is no up without understanding there is a down. So that's where I am. Like, as far as my life is concerned, they call me Mr. Silver Liner because I ride that balance. I know there's going to be good, and then I know there's going to be bad. That's how I navigate through the darkness, is that there is there is a chance I will stub my toe.
Mhm.
You understand?
Yeah.
There is a chance I will find the light real fast.
Yeah.
But I can't be fearful in trying, because at the end of the day, like Sis said, I am the light. I know where the light might be. You understand? So I'm gonna search it out. I'm gonna figure it out. So in essence, I can visualize what I want to be, what I want to see, what I want to do, and all of these different things. I am the light. But now to put, a shine on it, or put put your exact finger on it, you understand, that takes time, and that takes, perseverance. Because like I said, you may stump your toe, you may bump into a wall. Listen, you may navigate it freely, but it's all in you, So
Mhm.
that's my little tidbit, this morning. I actually stumbled on the meeting today, and you guys resonated with me right away because of the story, because there is a lot of fear of failing around me. There is a lot of darkness around me, and that actually can, add to what's dark for you. You understand? So sometimes we have to start being the light for others in order to get the darkness off of yourself as well. So, that's my 2 cents. I don't want to keep rambling.
Nah, that was great. Thank you, Molly, for sharing. I feel like I gotta speak with a deeper voice right now, Molly. You came on like Barry White. Yeah, you shared some gems, man, and I think analysis paralysis is definitely a real thing, especially as an analyst myself. Overthinking things can stop your movement, and I definitely agree with that. But I think one of the more important things you said is, before entering a situation, is accepting that it could go either or accepting that it's gonna go good and it's gonna go bad. The ups and downs of any situation can help relieve some of the anxiety that you might hold on to. So I appreciate you sharing that, Molly.
Yeah. What resonated with me is, the part where, you have a lot of darkness around you. And that, like, because we all have the capacity to think, right? To think and know what we want to do, right? But there's just so many outside forces sometimes that don't allow for those, those thoughts to transmute into action, into clarity, into a plan, right? So like there comes a point sometimes, especially when it's, with something that you have to do in order to create fulfillment, is like you gotta sometimes just shut stuff down, and I'm not saying separate from people, but the things that you love to do or are just used to doing, but there has to come a point where it's like, what is paramount, right? What's most important?
Yeah.
And once you kind of figure that out, I think it's a lot easier to then say, yo, I'm not turning on the TV, or, instead of chilling, I'm gonna go out and run, I'm gonna go out and work out, or instead of, trying to go out, I'm gonna stay at home and do the due diligence and study it. Because when you start kind of getting into your knowledge yourself and physically, spiritually, mentally seeing the growth, a lot of everything else kind of just falls in line. So, once those things kind of happen, it makes the transitions a lot easier.
You mentioned something so important, and I feel like the concept of curating your space so that it feeds you instead of pulls you down is so important, not only with who you surround yourself with, but the things that you intake. I'm a big advocate of going through your social media, looking at your Instagram, and if you're mindlessly scrolling, a lot of times I scroll with things that feed you, that are positive, instead of embracing more darkness around you without even realizing it.
Yeah,
or watching TV all the time, the news all the time, like that can't be good. So yeah, curating your space to make sure that it feeds you instead of pulls you down or adds more darkness to your life, I think is so important. And Molly also mentioned, like, no matter how much darkness is around you, a single candlelight can light a room in darkness. So if you are that light, you know, you're gonna light up wherever you are and inspire others to do so as well. So I like that. I think we have a hand up with Florence. Good morning, Florence. How are you?
One moment, Florence. I want to
Oh.
read, I want to, no, I want to balance the chat with the
Sure.
speaker, since there's a lot of people that want to share.
Okay.
The chat can get lost. So Shawnee says, one of the best pieces of guidance that I received was about 12 years ago when one of my friends told me that human beings can be manufacturers of our own misery. I realized that we can conjure darkness, fear, destruction, or we can conjure, create light, hope, joy, and optimism. Some of us are conditioned to see through the lens of what will go wrong instead of the possibility of great things manifesting even in times of darkness. I shaded that.
Yeah, I mean, the concept of hedging, you know, I'll just, you know, if I assume that it's going to go bad and it does go bad, then whatever, I'd be right. Like, how many of us do that or have done that in the past? It's so easy to just, you know, project negativity to kind of save yourself from the embarrassment of failure or whatever the case may be. So that's a great point.
And Jacqueline Davis says, be the light for others to get the dark off of you. That's in quotes. So she's pulling that from someone who just shared.
Yes, from Tiffany's husband.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. Yes. Tiffany, and then Tiffany says, for me, when I ask myself, what is the worst that can happen? She comes up with catastrophes. Jem says from Facebook, she says, old saying, before there was a problem, there was an answer. That does sound very wise. And a couple more shares. Facebook, Jem says, try understanding that most life lessons come to pass. And in hindsight, we can see that it helped us to ascend. Molly's agreeing, and Catherine Sweetness says, to Shawnee, for sure, loving what is a helpful book for me. Okay, Florence.
Thank you, Kimiko.
Sure.
Yes, good morning, everyone, and thanks for all the shares. I'm really, enjoying this and resonating with everything. I said to someone in 2020 that I think anxiety and fear was in my DNA, because I remember she said, I feel that you're anxious about doing, going back to work or whatever. And I said, oh my God, anxiety, that is probably in my DNA, because I've felt this since I was a child. And I didn't know it was anxiety, but I came to recognize it because, I came to recognize it as I grew older. And she actually told me to, pray and ask God to take, to, in a way, take that from me. And then I realized that it's not something that you ask God to take away from you. It's something that that is going to be there, but you have to learn to control it, because I know the Bible says, do not be anxious about anything. So it's something that you really have learned to really control. So I did pray, and I did get, oh my God, you would hardly recognize the person before I met that woman and the person after that woman. That took me through COVID with no fear. Even I got it. And I just said, oh yeah, I know the Creator has my back. The Creator is gonna, I'm gonna get over this. Oh, please, that's it. I'm gonna get over this. But one lesson I had through COVID, and is to understand that death is really nothing to fear, because I came really, really close. I mean, I was floating in and out, backward and forward. And I just knew that I intended to live, and I was just not going to succumb. But when I remember the feeling of what it was going to be like death, I was just going to slip away. 1 second I was aware, and the other second I was not, and I was slipping back and forth and back and forth. So then is when I came to realize that death is really nothing to fear. That's probably the thing that I feared the most. And I'm like, okay, if 1 minute I'll be aware and the next minute I'm not, well, so what? And I think that was like the biggest, like, oh my heavens, that took me like, I don't know, way up from where I used to be, living in fear, total fear. And so now I've learned to, as they say, fear has all these definitions, false evidence, appearing real, and all of this. But I choose to embrace the one that says, face everything and rise anyway. Face everything and rise. So face everything and rise. I just choose to embrace that one.
Love it.
Amen. Florence, thank
Love
you
it.
for
Thank
sharing
you.
that. I think you bring up something that just, touches all of us at some point, which is anxiety. Let me ask you, Florence, really quick. How did anxiety manifest itself in your being? What did that feel like for you?
Oh my heavens. As a child, anytime I feel like what I feared most was my father beating me, beating me with this leather belt. I just, oh my God, that was like my greatest fear. And anytime I would do something that I thought my father would beat me for, I did two things. One, I went to the bathroom immediately. I mean, it's like I just, bam, I had to go to the bathroom. And the second was that I would sleep. And I was never a person, I had a war with sleep. But if you caught me sleeping in the daytime, it's because something happened. And that was my way of blanking it out. My body just went to sleep, bam, like that. But in my later life, I just felt I ran away from everything. I ran away from confrontation. As soon as somebody said something to me that I felt was negative, I would feel waves passing over my body, waves passing over my body. Like, oh my God, I could faint because I was just fearful of what more was coming. I just kept thinking about what more was coming, what more negative thing, how was this going to affect me? And, and all these thoughts and all this. So it was really physical. A lot of it was very, very physical. That's when I came to make the connection between what I was feeling as a child and what I was feeling as an adult, and realize it was really fear, anxiety that I was going through.
Thank you.
It was very physical.
Thank you for sharing that. And anxiety manifests itself in so many different ways. And the trauma that you faced when you were young had an effect on your body, and you carried that through into adulthood. I see that Shawnee mentioned, fear and anxiety and trauma being transferred through mother and child through trauma. And we can hold on to these things going back to our ancestors. Shawnee, do you want to talk a little bit more about that? What you commented in the chat?
Sure. Thank you for the invitation. So, my work with Omari, or some of the work that we do, is about Black maternal health and that trauma. But they talk about weathering in the work, which means the experiences that we carry, not just from our day-to-day life, and what they call not implicit biases, but I can't think of it right now, but somebody on the team or in this space might be able to think about what the word is for when we experience these constant digs around our Blackness. It's not coming to me right now. But the bottom line is that not just the living that we're doing in this lifetime, but being in the womb with an anxious mother, and being in a womb with someone who's experienced being abused or mishandled, being in the womb and your mother or the birthing person is not feeling good about themselves. And even beyond that, trauma from generations, like they talk about it with the folks who identify as Jewish, that they carry anxiety and pain and dis-ease as a result of what happened to their great-great-grandparents. Part of it is how it's talked about in the community, but also our DNA is altered by experiences of trauma, and our brain chemistry is altered as well. So if you have that altered chemistry and DNA, it passes on to the next generation of offspring. And unless it's worked on, it just keeps going like a loop, and it never stops. So Black people have never really been given a full-blown opportunity to process our trauma over these centuries in the United States. And so without doing that work, we keep perpetuating it. And then we end up with situations like what we're dealing with right now with the Black maternal health crisis and other things, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, challenges in our relationships because we're in pain, and hurt people hurt other people, and hurt people hurt themselves. And I'm complete.
Yeah. How do we move forward as a community? And it sounds like we have some work to do, you know. I think this leads into our next topic, and Kinyofu, I think this might be the second or third slide, is how do we, when stepping into our power, let go of our old selves? How do we shed who we were, the anxieties and the traumas of the past in order to evolve into a new version of ourselves? What do you think, Omari?
I feel like we kind of touched on it when we were talking with Molly is, you know, when you're figuring out these new spaces, like there has to be, and there's new challenges, right? So there has to be new solutions. And consistency is so key, right? Like we do things, and sometimes we don't get the results that we want, the immediate results that we want, so we stop, or, you know, we create, you know, these, you know, narratives that, you know, it's not gonna work. And, you know, we revert, you know, so like, you know, when you're going through these processes and trying to figure out how to move forward, there has to be consistency, and there has to be a level of knowing and a level of appreciation for the struggle. And this is why I love working out, like, you know, because working out, it always sucks. Like, it's never like something that I'm like, oh yeah, the burn is amazing and I love it. Like, you know, it sucks, it hurts. I don't want to do it 90% of the time, right? But of course, every time I'm finished, it's like, I'm so thankful that I did do it and created that space. And at those times, it's like, I can't wait to do it tomorrow, you know, and it's, you know, but that goes with everything else. And the real reason why I really equate it with working out is because of the physical nature of it, you know, so it's something that's ever present. But that comes with everything else too. Like there has to be pain, there has to be some type of stretch, you know, that creates this unease and discomfort. And, you know, learning to embrace the discomfort is the great part about it. So like when I'm doing push-ups, like, because I haven't done it in a while, I can only do like 40 or 50 straight, right? But at the time when I was really, really going in, I could do 100, but the pain still came about at 30 and 40. So it was really just the fact that my body knows what's going on. So it knows it can do the 10, the 20, the 30, the 40, 50 extra. And that is like the grace, the power, the dopeness of those learned experiences, right? So but you have to go through it. And like your quote said, you know, you're the only one who can do it. Nobody else can do it for you.
I love the fact that you just used that analogy, Omari, because it's a beautiful analogy. We get to points where we're comfortable in life, and then we stop. And a lot of the times we don't know how powerful our minds are, because really it's your mind that's telling you to stop at 40 or 50 when your body is capable of doing more if your mind just said keep going. You know, you're gonna feel the pain regardless at 40 or 50, but are you gonna push through the pain, or are you gonna say, I got, you know, this is where I'm comfortable, let me stop here? So the concept of a mental block or the power of the mind is so important, because that, I feel like, is one of the biggest assets in trying to evolve into who you're meant to be and really stepping into your power. It's a mental shift. It's a mental shift from saying, yeah, this sucks, this might be painful, but once I overcome this, I become a new person. And tomorrow I could do something new. I feel like there's a story of this guy named Benjamin Banneker, I believe his name is, who prior to him, nobody could run the mile under 4 minutes. And it was just not possible. But he ended up breaking that 4-minute mark for the mile. And then after him, so many people have done it, including young kids. So it's, once you're mentally able to make a shift, you're able to break down barriers. And then once other people see you break down barriers, they are able to take it even further. So thank you for that, Omari. Kenyofu, I see a hand up. Roger Bannister, thank you, Kenyofu. I knew it was.
I'm like, wait a minute, I don't think that was Benjamin Banneker.
I'm messing up. It's early, okay, but I knew the story.
Yeah, there's only one Benjamin Banneker, so I was like, wait, that's
I'm like, no, he wasn't a runner.
Wasn't a runner. Yeah. Thank you for the correction.
Sure. Yeah, I'm experiencing an epiphany right now. And so I have been jogging, and when I this is something that I never thought that I would do. But so like a couple of years ago, I did try it, and I set the timer, and at 2 minutes, I'm like, oh, I can't do this. And I stopped. And I just figured I'm too old, I'm too not worked out, I'm too whatever the thing is. So this time around, whatever reason, I was jogging in the house, and I was like in place 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, I could do this. And I said, let me take this outside. So 5 minutes turned into 8 minutes, 8 minutes turned into 10 minutes, 10 minutes turned into 15 minutes. And now I'm at 17 minutes. Nice. But I realize every time I do it, and when I get to the 2-minute mark, I feel that fatigue. So what happened with the epiphany is that when I was doing it before, I didn't give myself a chance. So I gave up at 2 minutes. But that's that point that my body is, and my mind is in resistance, and I and if I go forward, then there's success on the other end. And that is a metaphor that I'm beginning to see from my life, because there's been many times when I got to that quote unquote 2-minute mark and I stopped, whereas there was a success on the other side that I never saw.
I love it. I love that story. I think jogging, or running is definitely one of those situations where your mental is gonna, carry you farther. I've heard about people running marathons, and I don't know. I think it's called like the 16-mile wall or something like that, where people hit a certain amount of miles and then all of a sudden your body just wants to shut down. And overcoming that is completely mental. There's nothing else physical you could do besides just keep running. And that's a mental hurdle that once you get over, you see the other side of success, and then you know you can keep running past the 2-minute mark and keep going. So thank you, Kenyofu, for that. Do we have anything in the chat at the moment?
I just want to say I got to figure out a way to incorporate "Oh My Heavens" in my everyday,
Yes.
Speech. I love it, but I have to say it the way Florence says it.
Yeah, the way she said it, with the Caribbean accent too. Just throw that little touch on there.
Yeah, that was cool. So there's a request to put the slide back up. I just took it down so we can see each other as we have the conversation.
Okay.
And I'm sure that Omari and Andre have more to say on it. Looking in the chat. Okay, let me go as far. There's a couple of things in here. Yeah, there's a lot of things in here. Okay, so that was said. Tiffany, she says, we learn in Be the Tree that we can be the cause. While in our mother's womb space, we are transferring the emotions and energies she's experiencing. And this is in response to Shawnee's share that Andre spoke on. And Robin says to Shawnee, yes, fear can also be generational pathology in the family. Cherie says, exactly, even in death, we're still okay. And there's some kudos to Florence. Catherine Sweetness says, not knowing who I am beyond the stories I tell myself, I created a large percent of the darkness and confusion. So Catherine sending hugs to all the fathers who hit the children as well. And I'm adding mothers too, because mothers do that, and siblings and aunties, uncles, and teachers and everybody. Keep your hands off the children. All right, Jacqueline says mental illness. Cheryl says that truly resonated. Not sure who she was referring to. Shawnee says the concept she was trying to remember was microaggressions. And Molly says, brother, take me to work out. He laughs. I want to just don't, what? I don't think he wants to work out, so he needs to.
I just don't.
Oh, he wants to, he just doesn't. Got it. Catherine Sweetness says, accepting the truth about the low vibration of our past, accept and don't resist in order to confront and conquer. Jacqueline says it's definitely a mental shift. Almost finished here. And Ajoba says every day is a new day. Every breath, every drop from the sky, every meal you eat, every sip of water, every gust of wind, every ray of light, every hug, every child, every friend, every generation is a chance and beautiful opportunity for one to renew themselves. With this talk, with this truth, I ask, what is generational curse? We grow and move forward all the time with all the love that surrounds us if we embrace it in one another. Wow. Catherine Sweetness says, sending out a gentle reminder to the community, stay hydrated, drink water immediately upon rising.
Thank you.
It is 7:58. I don't want to pass over that time and the acknowledgement that folks might need to leave. If you can stay, stay. And your information, Andre and Omari's information will be dropped in the chat.
I do have to remind the group, I will have to drop off soon. Today is day one for my 3-year-old and 7-month-old to start school. 7-month-old start school. I got to drop her off. So I apologize for that, but we will be back on together next time. We'll figure out another date.
So we have another 10, 12 minutes with you, right?
Yes, I'll be here.
Okay, so should I share that slide again?
Please.
Righty.
So here in the slide, we just have a couple of points. What is required for me to move forward? I think the more structured you are in your thought process, having a plan to move forward, following through with that plan will help in your navigating a space that you've never been before. Yeah, it might not go the way you plan it, but if you visualize, I think Molly mentioned that earlier, if you visualize where you want to be and then follow through, like Inofu says, after hitting a roadblock after 2 minutes and telling yourself you can follow through and get through it, you're already halfway to success, in my opinion. A couple of more points is just learn and research, any new space you want to be in. For me personally, Omari had an art show the other day that I was a part of. That was my first art show. I looked up what it means to be in an art show. I'd never been in one before. I was super nervous. And that was me stretching. That was me doing something I'd never done. But learning about art shows and how to converse with people that are looking at your artwork and things of that nature, it helped me in the space. I felt much more comfortable and less the feelings of anxiety in my body being in a new space. Changing your routine and habits, understanding yourself and staying present. These are just all things to help you, navigate a place you've never been before. So if any of those kind of resonate with you, or you've utilized one of these points to help you in your journey, we'd love to hear about it. But Omari, what do you think about these points?
Yeah, they're spot on. I think they're spot on. As I was reading them, I remembered something a good friend told me a couple of years ago, and I live by it every day. And he said, this is real simple. He's like, yo, just keep your hands on the wheel. And I think that kind of embodies everything that was on that slide. So, whenever there's anything going on, or like, you set this precedent of what you want to do, that follow through, regardless of what the road was happening on the road, the traffic, the potholes, the dips, and mudslides. Like, just keep your hands on the wheel, because that's essentially the only thing that you can control, right? And then eventually, the road will definitely get smoother.
Keep your hands on the wheel. All right, I'm stealing that one. Are there any more shares? Does any of those points resonate with anybody else? Just leave some space here.
So no comments. Your information is in the chat. Shawnee says, and this is not response, but kudos to you, Andre. She says your pictures are phenomenal. He has wonderful, you have wonderful eye as a photographer. She was inspired by your work.
Thank you, Shawnee. And I think, that makes me feel good, because I have those pictures hanging in my house. Those are probably like 4 years old, and only my family's really seen them. The pictures I shared at Omari's art show at the time helped me call myself a photographer. I've been taking pictures since I was like in middle school, but when I took those pictures in 2017, I started calling myself a photographer at that point. And to share that in a space with strangers was a completely new experience for me. And so to get feedback like that really helps me to understand, that I have a talent and that I should share that talent. And that comes with being, in a new space and not being fearful of the unknown, or being fearful of the known and of the unknown, and having the courage to move forward with it anyway. So, so I appreciate that feedback, Shawnee. We are who we say we are, Catherine says. That's a fact.
That is a fact.
If we say that we're going to be successful at something, then it's true. And if we say that we're not, then, this is the universe manifesting the words that come out of our mouths, right? So we want to try to keep that positive. Do we want to take a look at the last slide, Kenyofu? I think there was just one last one after that. This is the one that we did, and I guess we kind of touched on that. Omari, you want to go through this one?
Yeah, so just the last bullet, because we did kind of go over it. Well, we didn't actually, but I think we did a little bit. But I want to specifically talk about the last bullet point, and surround yourself with people who fill you up. Because so to your point, Dre, like when you are a photographer, you take dope pics, never done the show, so there was fear around that. And facing the fear was one thing, but being in a space where people gave you the opportunity to face your fear in a way that was, safe is the first word that comes to my mind. So I'm just going to say it. That was safe for you to, put yourself out there is so important. And I know I want to talk about the last one because like I'm kind of in the same place as well, where, you know, I've been creating for, you know, a couple of years now, and I'm stepping also into, you know, this world as an artist and claiming that and getting the reciprocation of it now. And people see me and also say those same things. But like I was given an opportunity to do a mural, and I've done a mural before, but like they want me to do like the whole, like it's a whole floor. And you know, and it was dope. You know, the opportunity is dope, but it is daunting at the same time. And as I'm thinking about it, like and trying to figure out how to do it, and I'm like, damn, like trying to put the numbers together and what I'm gonna say and how I'm gonna do it. And then I gave my friend a call, who's an artist, but he does like murals all the time. And he was like, yo, like because I was having trouble with the price. He's like, the pricing is one thing. He's like, yo, but remember, man, like you have an army. Like you give me a call, I'll have 5 assistants here to help you out. And the thing about it is that you don't even have to be the best artist. You know, like, so he was telling me like, you know, his journey through that. And it was like, yo, like I had to learn that, you know, when I have these opportunities and I create, I do this thing great, but the next person can do something even better than me. And having that team is just so important. And sometimes we forget that we have teams in different paces and spaces, right? So like I wouldn't think twice to, you know, if I'm doing a panel discussion or something like that, to call Shawnee and then all the other people that I know to figure it out. But like in this instance, it just wasn't top of mind because of the fact that it was new. But you know, like I see all of this to say that in surrounding yourself with people who will lift you up, you know, those people who lift you up are those who have confidence in what you're doing and will co-sign whatever you do because of the fact that they know, you know, the purity and the genuineness of yourself. And it's hard to kind of recognize that, you know, when it's you as well, you know. So it's like I just, you know, want to put that into space and just let people knowing that, you know, you can do all things, you can create the best opportunities, but it's so important to know that you don't have to be all things in order to do something dope. That's it.
I love that. I love that. I just saw a clip the other day that was a guy talking about who you surround yourself with, and he simply was like, look, don't be around people that can tell you you can't do something. Be around people that will tell you how to do something. And that changes everything.
It does. It really
changes
does.
everything. It changes your mentality. And we talked about the importance of having the right mentality to do something you've never done before. I don't know when you're doing that mural, but good luck with that, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
Come out great. With that being said, I do have to drop off now. So thank you, family. Thank you for allowing me to in the space to share with everyone. And Omar, you know, we have to do this again. These conversations are great. So thank you so much, family. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Dre.
All right.
Peace, Dre.
All right, family.
Yeah, so I would love to hear, like, you know, can you put the last slide up again, please? Thank you. Yeah, so I would love to hear about how some of these other bullet points kind of resonate with everybody else. I specifically am learning how to engage in self-care. And for me, like the word self-care is just such a buzzword now that I feel like I don't want to say it's not a real thing because obviously it is, but you know, like still wrestling with putting things down in order to take care of myself. So I just wanted to put that out there as well. But how, again, we could have some hands and talk about how these other bullet points resonate with you and how you navigate it. Do you navigate it? Are you willing to, you know, go through those experiences? I would love to know. Awesome. Go ahead, Tiffany.
That's a little groggy. What I what I'm resonating with was first the one about taking time for self-care and learning that self-care is not selfish, or maybe it is, and selfish isn't a bad thing. Like we're taught the word to be selfish is a bad thing. When you have a toddler and you teach them to share, you tell them, don't be selfish, we have to share. But at the same time, you still need to have something in reserve for yourself. So the self-care is something that I'm learning. And then I shared earlier that I used to surround myself with people who had no problem taking my love and my kindness. So I was always giving, giving, giving. But those people, or it felt like those people were slow to return. And so changing who my group is, who my core go-to people are, has helped me in my healing journey, in my process of navigating this new unknown that I'm in. And so I recognize Woo as being one of those communities, one of those groups that now pour back into me the same way I pour into them. And I'm complete for now.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, like it's so ill. Like I think that sometimes as people, we spend a lot of time wanting things from certain individuals who they just can't give it to us, and they don't know how to. And like it's so important that you do find your tribe. And I think that it's also important that you understand that different tribes provide different experiences. Like it's funny because I equated to like school, right? So like when I was teaching, we had, and there's always an issue with, unfortunately, in New York, I guess everywhere, that it's teacher shortage, or these small schools stretching teachers. Like, so like my preferred subject is math, right? But I've had to teach science, I've had to teach English and stuff like that. And it's like, how do you expect me to really educate these children on English when like I'm a math teacher, right? And I think it's kind of the same type of concept where it's like, we are, even though I can teach, even though like I can, manage a classroom, like if you want me to be at my best, then you need to put me in the best position to do that. And on top of that, you need to know, like, I'll do it, but it's not going to be exactly what the need is going to probably fulfill, right? So get an English teacher, right? Like, so it is that thing where it's like we got to find the people that that do the things that we need them to do, and then also the ability to reciprocate in a way that allows us to reciprocate in the best possible efficient manner, effective manner. Yeah. Again, so Florence, we'd love to hear what you have to say.
Okay, well, two things resonate with me. Self-care is one, the first one I'll address. And self-care, well, we always know they say put on your oxygen mask first before you attempt to put the mask on anyone else, even your kid, because I know that in the process of trying to put that oxygen mask on your kid, you can just block out. And then when you block out, both of you will die. So it's very important to take care of yourself first. I always tell people that the Bible says, love thy neighbor as thyself, which means that you first have to learn to love yourself before you can really and truly love your neighbor, because what you're giving to your neighbor before you learn to love yourself is really not love. Because you haven't understood what it is to love yourself. So how is it that you're loving your neighbor? You're giving your neighbor something, but it's really not truly love. So it's really, that's the first thing that we need to do, learn to love ourselves. And self-care, I've come to understand, is not just taking care of your body, taking care of your mind, what you put in it, Like there's the scripture that says on these things, on good things, like what is good, what is true, what is, think on the things that are good and the things that are true, because this is what you feed your mind with. People tell me, oh, you have to keep up with the news, you have to keep up with the news, and you have to know what's going on. But I just don't, because I just don't really, I'm aware of what's going on. I look for the weather, but I really don't want to hear the news because the news does not encourage me. So I'm really, if that's the only way I can keep up with what's going on, well, really and truly, I wouldn't. So, I'm very careful with what I put into my mind. And also I've learned to take care of my body, because without the body, you don't have, what's the use of the mind? And without the mind, well, what's the use of the body? So you have to be careful of both. And being present is the other thing. Being present in this moment, I've truly learned what it means to be present in this moment. And I practice it because I've come to understand that the past has already happened. There's nothing I can really do about it. The future has not come. But if I be what I need to be in this moment, then it will probably take care of the future also. If I hate in this moment, then the results of that hatred will show in the future. If I love in this moment, then the results of that love will show in the future. So this moment is all that I have and all that I can really be in control. So all I have is to be mindful, be present, be in this moment. So for me, that's what I have to offer.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, that was a lot to digest and take in, but it's all, you're right. Like there has to be, a holistic energy around, self-care and really pouring into your mind, your body, and your spirit, and figuring out ways to do that on a consistent basis. And then, yes, staying present is, I think that's huge. We get very, distracted by what happens or, what we want to happen, as opposed to what we can do to make things happen, in the moment. So thank you for that share. Definitely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. There are some comments. I'm going to go up into the thread. And Anna Vick says, I love hearing your artist journeys. Calling yourself a photographer and valuing your work as an artist is hard because it's so subjective, but you are what you choose to give your energy to. You are fabulous. Shawnee says, I feel you, Om. I'm imagining that's you, Omari. Sometimes I tussle with the scale of the work that I am called to do. I allow myself to get shook by the possibility of expanding of my work on a scale that I have not experienced before, especially when I think about doing it on a global level. I totally agree about the importance of partnership and how I am never alone in this work. And Florence said, I've recently had to humble myself to trust my daughter to help me with a move. And just skimming here. And Anna-Vic comes back with, yes, that is what I finally came to terms with. Not everyone could support me as a bereaved mother in the way I needed. I stopped hoping for certain people to be there for me and became open to those who naturally wanted to, and my support network has expanded. Many new friends are on this journey with me who can witness my loss and be there to validate my experiences. Some other random thoughts, comments in here, I'm skipping over them. And it's 8:20. I wanted you to have whatever words you have to say before we leave.
Thank you, Wolfie. Yes. So like Dre said, one, we have to do this again. We're putting it on myself, and he is also pushing me for us to start co-creating more things with the Wu Nation, moving forward, because the conversations are just always so impactful. It's fun, and the community is just dope, so we want to make sure that we are actively contributing to just dope stuff. So look forward to us coming on over in the next couple of weeks. As far as the topic, I'm not really sure yet, but I think that regardless of whatever the topic is, I know that it will be something that is going to be able to provide the community some insight, and also us as well. So, I look forward to coming back on and being a part and, co-creating these dope experiences with y'all. And, I'm complete pretty much. So just thank you. Thank y'all for being on. Thank you for waking up. Thank you for engaging and starting your day with us. And I hope that, what we talked about resonated, and that we're actively, using these tools and just these thoughts and these ethos to help us navigate through today, and tomorrow, and, and just being consistent, but starting that navigation or continuing that navigation today. Awesome. And if you want to contact me personally, here's all my information. Omari Maynard on Facebook, M_U_Z, or the Aria Foundation on IG. Email is pretty simple, omari.maynard@gmail, and omarimaynard.com is my website, where you can find all that I'm doing in terms of my creativity and my artistry. And if you want to catch Dre, his email address is andretravisnelson@gmail.com. And again, we're going to be on very soon. So if you do, like I said, want to contact him, this is definitely his email address. Hit him up personally. And the love offering. So, obviously, when we co-create things, it takes time, it takes engagement, and it takes thought, and we just hope that you appreciate it, and, you can share and show that appreciation through love offerings and donations. Zelle or QuickPay is at soulleadershipdevelopment@gmail.com, and Cash App is Spirit of a Woman. And the code is 665 OMAN. It's very easy to remember, 665 OMAN. And if you want to do a donation or love offering and have it automated, because again, Wu is so, like, it's the 665th episode of Wu Nation. This is something that is consistent, and consistency is the hardest thing to achieve. And I don't know how Wu does it, but it's so seamless. So with that consistency, again, comes energy, it comes dedication, it comes sacrifice. So please, monthly automated love offerings are also appreciated. $25, $50, $75, $100 increments, all deserving, all well needed. And, if we want to make sure that we pour back into our community, that this is definitely a way to do it.
Okay, thank you, Omari. We have next up for Sunday. The topic is healing your inner child, and it's facilitated by, and I'm hoping I'm getting this name right, Moradeo Adea. So y'all come back to see how it's really pronounced.
It's Moradeo.
Okay.
Moradeo.
Thank you. Yeah, so new members, if you're out there, new members meaning first time in Zoom for Woo, or first time in Facebook for Woo, or however you've been in Facebook and now you're coming into Zoom, whatever that looks like, let us know that you're new. We want to surround you with love and welcome. So put your name or the comment in the chat or the comments box that says, it's me, I'm new. Don't hide. We want to see you and we want you to come back. So we're here 5 days a week. Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday are our long days. We're here from 7 to 8:30. And Monday and Wednesday are our short days. We're here from 7 to 7:30. Sometimes we go over and we can do that. So we're Woo, and we do what we can do in order to complete the objective, and that's supporting you all. We're always on Zoom and streaming live on Facebook. And if you want to receive text alerts in the morning, letting you know to get in here, you will do this right now if you don't have it already. Open up your text, type in 74121 as a telephone number. And in the comment section, type in Woo Nation and press send. That's all you need to do. And then you'll be receiving a message about 6:30 every morning, inviting you in to wake up. And we have swag. Go to bit.ly/Woo Swag to see what we have. I can tell you, you'll be able to choose from a thermos, a mug, a laptop sleeve, a bag, a journal, a mask, a t-shirt, or multiple colors and sizes of t-shirts and sweatshirts. So I have to say this, I'm sorry to say this, but we're moving into sweatshirt season, so get yours ready. Again, go to bit.ly/Woo Swag. Stay in touch. We have an email list. If you'd like to be on the email list, go to bit.ly/Wake Up Movement and register. So when you do that, you will receive the message for the week, the message that says who's coming up and who they are, what they're talking about. You have to do this every week because every week we have a different lineup. So every week, register. And we have 2 Facebook pages. One is private, one is public. The private page is the group that this is streamed live on right now. It's the place where you can go to get your replays of other sessions that you've missed or that you want to repeat. bit.ly/Woo Community. Go there, request to be admitted if you're not there, and if you haven't if you're not a part of the community. And if you are a part of the community, you can still go there and they'll just take you right to the page. bit.ly/Woo Nation. Woo Nation is uppercase. That's the public page or the fan page. And you can go there and click like. We're on Instagram at Wake Up Everybody Virtual, and we're on YouTube at bit.ly/Woo on YouTube. And our email, if you want to contact us for any reason, info.wakeupseries@gmail.com. Today is Thursday. I want to invite you to consider being a part of the volunteer team. We have many roles to be fulfilled. I mentioned that we are on Instagram, but we're not really. So what we need is someone who can be consistent and drop in some text and an image to let other people know that we're here. So that person could be you. If you're already on social media doing Instagram things, you could do the Instagram things for Wake Up Everybody and spread the word and make a difference. There's other things like that that you can do. We have an onboarding team to support the facilitators. We have the admin team to do the things that you see us doing today, myself and Tiffany. The slide that you're looking at, somebody did it. Some slides needs editing every day. So if you have insight, talent, skill, interest, passion, let us know. We will be glad to have you. Email us info.wakeupseries@gmail.com. So I'm going to, oops, sorry, Omari. I didn't mean to stop your video. I am stopping the share, and I'm also asking everyone to unmute. And we're going to give Omari a love shower, and also include Andre, who's not here at the moment. But his energy is here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Omari.
Love
Powerful
you. Thank you so
Andre.
much.
Thank you for everything
Thank
that
you
you
so much.
experienced to us today. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for
Wonderful.
being a
Wow, you so much
patient.
more wonderful.
So I didn't have to do it, and I would help you
Appreciate
to
you.
be
Thank you. Thank you.
Go
you.
for it.
All of
Continue to stay
you
powerful.
here with us. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here with us. Like you guys,
Oh, then excel.
It's happening.
Finish
So,
the little work. Press
brother
button.
and time,
So
gotta do this. Thank
I want
you
to hear
so
what Autumn
much.
said.
Thank you.
let's move forward, everybody.
Thank you. Thank
Hey, good
you.
morning.
Thank you. See you
Thank
very
you.
soon.
You guys have a great day.
Thank you.
A prosperous day.
Omari. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank y'all.
Bless my heart.
Love y'all.
Yes, we